It's official. The Pittsburgh Steelers have decided to start Russell Wilson against the New York Jets on the Sunday night primetime game. So we'll be getting Wilson versus Rodgers once again, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into the video, as we always do. But also, guys, as we always do, make sure to subscribe to the channel. 8.3% of viewers are subscribed. Let's get those numbers up. But we're not going to dance around it. Matt, the Pittsburgh Steelers have made a change. They will be starting Russell Wilson over Justin Fields this weekend in the primetime Sunday night game between the New York Jets and the Steelers. And this is an interesting move, as Justin Fields has only thrown one interception this season and has the Steelers looking solid, 10 touchdowns. But the Steelers are making a move. Now, obviously, this is Jets Digest, so we're going to talk about this from a Jets perspective. But, Matt, on this change, do you think this is good for the Jets? And we can talk about the Steelers for like a minute also. But do you think this is a good change for at least the Jets' benefit? Or do you think that the Jets now have a worse chance of winning because Russell Wilson is in and Fields is out?
Yeah, I think there's a huge change for the Jets in a great way, because we were both watching that last game against the Buffalo Bills where Josh Allen had so many plays where he was able to roll out of the pocket and run around and no one was able to bring him down. So we are struggling to bring down Josh Allen. Yes, he's a great runner, but he's not a super dynamic runner the way Justin Fields is. So Justin Fields would have probably went crazy running against the Jets defense. So I'm very excited to see Russell Wilson instead of Justin Fields. Now, clearly Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, believes that Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback for the Steelers this year. He was supposed to be the starter week 1 before his calf injury. And then Justin Fields, even going 4-2 was not enough for Justin Fields to keep his job. He didn't play super well, but the record speaks for itself. It's better than what the Jets got out of four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. So it's a surprising move, but I was very excited to hear it for the Jets, because I think Russell Wilson, another reason why they probably should be starting Justin Fields, is because the Steelers the last 2 seasons have had a poor offensive line. And to amend that, the last 2 years, they've spent a first-round pick on an offensive lineman. One of those offensive linemen, Broderick Jones, moved over from the left tackle to the right tackle spot and isn't doing super well this year. The other guy they used the pick on this year, Troy Fautanu, out for the year. Their second round or third round pick center out of West Virginia, Frazier, he's also injured. They have a third, I believe it's the right guard, it might be the left guard, out for the season as well. So the Steelers, bad offensive line, on top of that dealing with injuries. Russell Wilson is going to sit in the pocket. He used to make all these crazy plays. He would roll out of the pocket and find Doug Baldwin all the way down the field. But those days are over. He's not in Seattle anymore. He is on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is older. His first game of the year, coming off of an injury. So I really think the Jets can take advantage of this. The Jets are going to be able to push on that weak offensive line that the Pittsburgh Steelers have. They're going to collapse the pocket around Russell Wilson. They're not going to let him escape and extend plays to make big plays that are going to be able to hurt the Jets. The Jets have been called for, over the past 2 games, they've been called for a bunch of defensive pass interference and defensive holding penalties. Also, their secondary is banged up. The longer that Justin Fields would have been able to sit in the pocket and make these defenders defend, that's just more time for them to get a holding penalty. That's more time they're going to potentially grab onto a receiver, and potentially time to give the Steelers a first down via penalty. But Russell Wilson doesn't have that athleticism anymore. He is not the same type of rushing threat that Justin Fields is. What he is there to do is sit in the pocket and execute the offense from the pocket. They brought in Arthur Smith, the ex-head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, ex-offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans. He's going to come in, and all they want Russell Wilson to do is just execute the offense, make the right read. They don't want him to do anything special, but he's there to not make mistakes. And we got a great defense. I'm really hoping that our defense can make Russell Wilson make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I also think with the Jets specifically, they have, as you mentioned, they've struggled against Josh Allen, who is very good at running out of the pocket, but Justin Fields is better at it. The Jets' run defense in general has been a bit suspect this year, if anything. And Russell Wilson is, 35? Like, he's not going to be scrambling out of the pocket the way that he was more often back in Seattle. 10 years ago now. Time flies, man. But really looking at this, the Jets, I agree. I think they have a better chance of winning this game against Russell Wilson because of the fact that now you're going up against a weak offensive line, a weak offense in general. The Jets defense could use a bounce back week where they're just taking over. They won't have to worry about chasing Justin Fields down, who's very elusive. They should be able to get a few sacks this game. It should be able to light a spark under their defense in general, especially when you're going up against the Steelers, who just have a chronically good defense, it feels like. And it's becoming the situation where now with Wilson as the starter, the guy who was the planned starter before the injury, I'm pretty curious to see what they're going to look like. Now, again, this is Jets Digest, so not to go off about the Steelers, but obviously their wide receiver game is kind of weak. It feels like a game where the Jets defense should be able to have one of their best games of the season in general. So hopefully they'll be able to go out there and do that and really get things rolling into this situation where essentially they're able to get the Steelers offense off the field as much as possible. Last year when it was Zach Wilson because Rodgers got injured, there was that whole problem of, okay, we'd be better and our defense would be better if they weren't constantly on the field. This is a game where the Jets can flip that script of last season when it's like, hey, our offense is never on the field because it's just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. This is a world where the Jets can flip this script and see the other side of things. And they're going to need that because the Steelers' defense is very good and the Jets' offense has been a bit stagnant at times. Though obviously Devonte Adams is now on the Jets, so we're going to see how he goes up against them. And honestly, that just segues perfectly. Matt, against a team who has a good defense like the Steelers, what are you expecting out of Devonte Adams in his first game?
So the Steelers, they got a really good defense, but they don't have really good corners. They got one really good corner in Joey Porter Jr., second-year guy out of Penn State. He's pretty tall, but what he brings to the table is long arms and physicality. So he's going to get in the grill of whoever he's up against. But what's great about the Jets now is who is he gonna get in up? Like, he can only guard Devonte or Garrett Wilson. So not both of them. So I am very, very, very excited to see what it looks like now that we have two potentially elite wide receivers on the outside. And we have Allen Lazard, who's having one of the better seasons of his career. He is going to also be able to create more problems for the Steelers defense and any other defense that the Jets play going forwards. So we're probably going to see a lot of movement from the offense. We saw a lot more motion in the Bills game compared to the other games because of Todd Downing, the new offensive play caller. He is using much more motion than Nathaniel Hackett was, and that's a game changer so far for the Jets. I can't wait to see what their defense looks like, or what their offense looks like. The one thing that we got to get right. Number 90, not Myles Garrett, TJ Watt has to be blocked on every single play.
Yeah.
Chris, have you heard the story where Peyton Manning, or I think it was Tom Brady actually, he has the wristband that says find 20 on every play, and 20 was Ed Reed that game?
No, I have not.
So, yeah, there it is. The story is Tom Brady, you remember, Jets fans remember, he had all the plays on his wristband, and one line, it was written in black Sharpie, find 20 on every play, and 20 was Ed Reed. They're going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Jets they got to find Watt on every single snap. They got to chip him. They got to double team him. They got to slide their protection to his side of the defense. They cannot allow him to take over the game because he seems to take over every single game he plays, whether it's punching the ball out, getting interceptions, or just getting sacks. TJ Watt impacts the game in every single possible way that a defensive end/outside linebacker can, and it is terrifying. I don't know why he hasn't received MVP votes yet, but I really think he deserves them because he is that type of guy. Joe Burrow said that he was like a defensive back, the way you got to throw over him because he gets so many interceptions. And if you look at outside 3-4 outside linebackers, the guys that are rushing the passer in the 3-4 defense, they're not supposed to be able to get interceptions. So the fact that TJ Watt can do that just goes to show how athletic he is and how well-rounded his football game really is. And we got to get him blocked. we got to make sure the offensive line has been struggling so far this season. We got to make sure that we can get that right in this game because it's going to be a long night for Aaron Rodgers if TJ Watt is able to get a good night going for himself. So their offense is most likely going to struggle because it's Russell Wilson, a bad O-line versus a good defense. But that has happened for many of the Pittsburgh Steelers games so far this year. Their offense has been inconsistent and their defense has been really good, and they won 4 out of their 6 games. So the Jets, we are below 500. It's time to step up now. We got to make sure we are making good on these new additions of Devonte Adams, and we're going to make sure that we can get this season turned and back on track.
Yeah, and I think this game, as much as any of them so far, is an absolute must-win at this point. You're 2-4. You don't really have margin for error anymore. Not much, at least in the middle part of the season. So they're going to have to lock in and get it done. And I'll be honest, I do think the Jets are going to win this game. If I had to make a prediction, I'd say it's going to be 17-6. Matt, give me your quick prediction. Jets score.
21-13 Jets.
There we go. Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great Saturday, and go Jets.